Okay, we are ready, right? Ready means you have to stop talking so we can begin, okay? Thank you. Thank you. Now, I want you to really look around this environment. I mean, this is going to be really just an example of the future classroom. So technology is not a problem. And really, I think we need to exercise more of the pedagogy. How do we learn things? I mean, you look at it, you can see your colleague from Aachen, and you can see Professor Mary Ritz here in Technion. And really, distance is not a problem anymore. Technology is not a problem anymore. This is a very nice classroom. I remember earlier I was giving the chance to talk to TAI's faculty in different classrooms, and this will even change as I walk around the stage. So there's a lot of technology that I can bring into the classroom. But pedagogy has to change. The way we teach, the way we learn has to change. And that's why you're here to do the experiment. Now, part of this experiment is to showcase your result. And earlier we tried to see whether we can arrange the whole afternoon session in the USC Global Conference so that you can really show your result to a lot of external guests. And it turns out that's really logistically too hard. So what we did is we're going to have today here our own event. And therefore, everyone here, now you are not divided by session A or session B. Although our presentation will go through A and B, go through the sequence, but everyone here is sitting as a member of the class. And later on, we will have Carsten from Aachen to lead the presentation session A, and we'll have Anne to lead the presentation session B, and they will explain to you the presentation rules, and they will also explain to you the different requirements for you to be the judge or not to be the judge. I understand that session A, you will not be the judge, but session B, everyone will be the judge, okay? And we're going to try many different parameters so that at the end, we will have a very wide set of database to really understand how we can improve this teaching, okay? I guess we should just move on. I just want to let you know that we will have 2 hours for session A, and we need to end the session A at 6 o'clock sharp. And that time will provide you the pizza dinner, but the main event is we will take that hour break to do very important thing, which is group photo. And the group photo will be for the whole class, and it is also the time for you to try on your shirt, make sure it fits you well and looks good. And then we're going to have a group photo for each university, and those photos will really be a good memory for you to bring back home. And we'll make sure you all get a good photo to bring back home, okay? And then we will resume the session B presentation at 7 o'clock and we'll until 9 o'clock. So it's going to be a long night, and I'm sure you'll enjoy this. And one thing I want you to really pay attention is this. Please pay respect to the speaker. It is very unrespectful if the speaker here speaks and make their presentation of the work they try very hard to accomplish, and you're sitting there trying to take care of your own business. This is not a very respectful behavior, okay? So we all pay attention. We all pay attention to who is speaking on the stage here, okay? So can I have a Carsten come over here, and he will lead the presentation for session A, okay?
I don't want to consume too much time for a decent welcome talk. It's just about you in the moment. So, presentation, we got 9 groups so far for session A. So, yeah, time is a bit short. So, you're going to have like 10 to 15 minutes. So, you should end your presentation probably around 10 minutes at some time of discussion afterwards. So, if you're one of the later groups and say, well, there are things in the following time, there are things which are, just addressed, a couple of games, maybe you can just faster, so we'll be on time in the end and have a nice discussion over there. We want to start with the red team, and yeah, I think we should start pretty soon to get into the red team. The invitation is already running. It's open down there.
And I'm Steve.
And we are very pleased today to present our global innovation process. We are representing the red team from Session B. So today we're just going to introduce to you who our company is and what we are doing, as well as the market research that we have done and our BCG portfolio, which is essentially...
It's pretty difficult to hear you. Could you get closer to the microphone?
I cannot hear you either.
My voice is a little gone, but I'll try my best. As well as the R&D network and our cost review, and we'll end it off with our innovation practices. Alright, so our company is CleanDev Tech. They are a Swedish company, and due to the recent financial crisis, they are actually in the want of diversifying their product portfolio. And by that, they are very well known for their cleaning devices already. However, they want to move into a new market for kitchen devices, specifically a toaster. We were given specific variants and different attributes. However, with market research, getting to understand what the consumer really wants in the perfect toaster in Israel, Germany, and the US, we were able to show you what we got. All right, so market research. We did research in each of these 3 different regions, but what we ultimately found was that they are very similar. They do want certain aspects of toaster, but they do have some significant cultural differences. We did our market research in the form of online surveys as well as interviews to get a very rich picture of what the consumer really wants in each of these 3 regions.
So as Eugen showed you in an earlier slide, we actually had 15 toasters that our company thought they could realistically produce and get to market within the 14-month timeline. So the first thing we did for each region was determine which of those 15 toasters would even possibly be profitable, based on data given to us by our marketing and sales team, as well as our development and our procurement teams. So in Israel, you can see we had 5 toasters, 1, 3, 7, 8, and 9, which could possibly turn a profit. And then to those 5, we applied our market research and determined that in Israel, we would like to sell toaster number 8 for several important reasons. So the most important is that it has 4 slots, so they can make 4 slices of toast at once, which was something we heard repeatedly from Israeli customers, that they wanted high efficiency. So compared to a 2-slot toaster, 4 was much preferred. Another note is that we do not have a bun warmer on this toaster, and I think I could actually ask most of the American and Israeli teams in here if you knew what a bun warmer was in a toaster, and a lot of you would be confused or not know what to do with it. And so we actually saw that Israelis would perceive that as making the toaster too complicated, and it's not a feature they wanted. And then another thing is that there was no real preference for materials, so we went with a plastic toaster. It's also worth noting that this was our 2nd largest revenue, but it had a larger market share, so we justified taking a slightly lower profit for a higher market share. The next thing we did is we looked at long term. So 5 years down the road, we used the Boston Consulting Group portfolio to identify which of our toasters had high market share for our company and high market growth, so they'd be worth investing in. And in Israel, we would like to add toaster 3 in the long run. So right now we have 8, we're going to add toaster 3 because that toaster meets a lot of different needs that toaster 8 doesn't already cover, but is not necessarily profitable at this point in time. In Germany, we actually chose to offer 2 toasters out of the 7 or 8 profitable variants. So first of all, we have toaster 8, which you notice is actually the same as the toaster we're offering in Israel, so that's easier for our company to produce. And then we also, that will be our very profitable option in Germany. And then we also have toaster 1, which is actually meeting a lot of profitable, it's very popular in the market based on the features it has. So it does have a bun warmer, because in the German market, they do want a bun warmer. They make a lot of rolls, they use larger pieces of bread that don't necessarily fit in the toaster, and want to be able to use that. We also have brushed stainless steel, so it's high quality, and it has a cancel control, so they can actually take much more manual control over their toast and get it exactly how they want it. For the German market in 5 years, we actually saw something unique in that the two toasters we're offering in the short term are actually questionable status in that they have very low market share for our company in the long term. So we're going to replace both of those toasters with two different ones, which are 5 and 11, which actually have similar features, but our sales and business team analyzes and thinks that they will have a better future for our company. Finally, in the United States, we are yet again offering Toaster 8, which meets the United States needs actually almost more perfectly than it met the other cultures. It has a cancel control, it's made of plastic, it doesn't have a bun warmer, and it uses a short slot, which versus a long slot, which might be for more European styles of bread that we just don't use. This toaster is affordable. One of the biggest things we saw in the US is that they want affordable toasters. They don't want something fancy. Then we are also offering Toaster 3, which you might have noticed we were offering in several other countries in 5 years. We're starting that right away in the US as an even cheaper toaster. It doesn't have a cancel button, it has 2 slices instead of 4 slices, so it's sort of more of a budget toaster for somebody like a college student instead of a family. And our BCG portfolio for the US actually looked very positive. You'll note that we have a lot of high market share and high market growth toaster options. And so in the long term, we're actually going to add Toaster 5 to our portfolio of 3 and 8. So we'll actually have, or 1 and 8, so we'll actually have 3 toasters in the US market in 5 years.
All right, so we analyzed our market research as well as saw what is actually profitable in each of these regions. So now we are actually redesigning our research and development network. What we really wanted to emphasize with our R&D network was maximizing our synergy effect in all of these regions. So synergy by definition is the rise in productivity by better teamwork and better communication. So we wanted to choose Germany as our country to allocate a lot of our resources, 20 million euros to be exact, in product and production technology development in Germany specifically, because one, we are able to not sacrifice the quality of our toaster, but do it at a lower cost price than, let's say, America or Israel. As well, Germans are, on average, able to speak more than one language than the average Joe, as well as they have the advantage of operating in a single time zone as well. Also, a fun thing to note is that there's a lot of different kitchen supply companies as well located in Germany itself. So by networking with these enterprises, we could really increase our synergy within these different networks. So the different costs that are associated with our new design for an R&D network. So we have 5 million in product technology, as well as another 8 million in product production technology development. So we could better our product, do it at a lower cost, and especially as the market grows. However, in our market and lead user research units, we want to allocate a little more heavily in the United States because, for one, they are the lead market with 51% of probability in comparison to the other regions. But also, in the long term, they have a very diversified product portfolio. So we want to really understand our market, actively scan if we're actually meeting the local needs.
Okay, so we've presented to you the toasters that our company is capable of making now that we would like this year and in the next 5 years. But in our market research, we actually encountered a lot of features that people wanted or problems they have with their toasters that we couldn't address with our limited variants. So we think in the very long term, we'd actually like to research a few more things and see if they could be profitable. So we'll just go through some of them really quickly. The first thing is isolation, which essentially means when the toaster's on and getting hot, you don't want the outside of the toaster to get hot too, because then your customer burns themselves. We also have the idea of mobile phone app integration, so it's a big thing these days. There's an app for everything, and we think why not have an app for your toaster that could tell you if this is the kind of bread you're making, here's how long you should toast it for, or let you cancel your toast or start your toast from your bedroom. We also think having a window or a see-through cover can help you monitor your toast more easily, and we also think a warming function, so letting the toast, without continuing to toast it and burn it, letting the second piece of toast stay warm while you eat your first slice is a feature that actually a lot of our German customers wanted. And then we also thought a folded toaster could be cool because it could help take up less space on the counter. So essentially you're done using it, fold it up, put it in the drawer, take it out for later. Then we also have had a lot of people tell us that getting the toast out is tricky, so they either reach in with a fork, which they're never supposed to do, or reach in with their fingers and burn themselves. So some easier way to get the toast out should be researched. We also think aesthetically pleasing. It could be great to have a light up toaster that maybe is just ambient lighting when it's on your counter, as do many of our consumer electronics these days. And it could also give you information like your toast is done if it's blue, or it's warming up if it's red. Then we could also have an 8-slice toaster, because we did 2-slice, we did 4-slice, let's go all the way to 8. That's going to be popular in America. And then giving each slot its own cancel control could let different members of the same family toast differently. And finally, everybody hates cleaning toasters, so adding a crumb slot could really change things. So, okay, some problems here, but anyway. So we have given you the toasters that we would like in the short term, the toasters we would like in the long term, and features that we think you should consider 10 years from now. We've also identified a new setup for our R&D network, and with these things in place, we think CleanDev Tech can be the leader in the toaster industry in the future. Thank you. Do we have any questions?
It's toasted. Any questions?
I will have some short comments.
Okay.
It would be easier to address questions if you would have slide numbers.
Okay.
But at all, I liked your presentation. Good work.
Thank you.
I especially like the, not the last slide we are looking now, but the one red team signing out. That's making it very individual. The presentation as a whole, I would liked it better if you did not change the speakers so often. That's a little bit, yeah, making it hard to follow. But,
Yeah, sorry, my voice was gone.
no problem.
I actually like the change of speakers because it gives everybody the opportunity to participate. So I like it.
I think a lot of the other groups might be using a few more speakers than we have.
Just one additional comment from my side. The BCG portfolio, I would have liked it with more pictures, but that's just a short comment from my side. But the whole presentation was very good. I liked it, and good job.
Thank you very much.
If I may add to it, I think it was a wonderful presentation. And to add on what we've heard before, I particularly like the fact that you said what is missing, not letting us to assume that everything is already being resolved. So thank you.
Thank you.
Now, blue team's on the road. That's amazing.
This one? Hello? This one? This one. So which one?
Both are working.
Okay. Good afternoon, and to our virtual viewers, good morning. We are the Blue Team. I'm Justin, here with my wonderful colleagues, Anna from USC, Anish, and Matthias, Martin, and Zoe and Yuval from Technion. We are very happy to be the second group to be going because we're actually a wonderful complement to the great presentation that preceded us because they really focused on their conclusions and why they chose them. And our presentation, fortunately, really focuses on how we got to those conclusions. So between these two presentations, you really get a good understanding of the case for the students who are not in our session. So just to give you a quick overview of our project, we're going to give you an understanding of how we got to our conclusions by looking at the techniques we use for market analysis, the techniques for research development, and the ways we make decisions for how we're going to finally invest in our products. To start us off with the market analysis, I will give it to Anish.
Thank you, Justin. To start with our case study, we basically went through Professor Shu's lecture. This is one of the graphs from his lecture, which basically states that in order to have the maximum profit, we need an optimum number of variants. If we have either very low variants or very high variants, then the company might not be profitable. So this was the initial attributability which was given to us. There were about 15 variants, which is quite high for a simple toaster. So we had to reduce the variants to make CleanDevTech profitable. So we had the conditions given by the ICORIA coursework. These were, the first condition is the production restriction. So based on the production restrictions, we eliminated quite a few variants from the toaster. The production restrictions are basically like, it was given like, for example, the stainless steel does not have a bun warmer and something like that. So it was already given in the coursework. And after this restriction, we had the following variants for further analysis. Then we did the profitability analysis, as you see in the three graphs here, three tables. The red ones are the ones that we eliminated based on the profitability index values that were given, and the blue ones are the ones that we analyzed further. And as you can see on the left-hand side of the presentation, these are the variants that would be analyzed further. So in order, overall, these are the variants that pass this stage and go to the next stage of market research, which is a very important part of our presentation. So market research was carried out by us basically in three steps. The first was preparing the questionnaire and distributing it in all the three markets and getting responses from the customers. The second was the visiting the local retailers and getting to know about the best-selling toasters in each market. And the third one was the Technion, was the focus group, which was carried out by the Technion guys. And more details about market research would be explained by Matthias.
So as you can see, we started to investigate we tried to gather some statistical data about our participants of the survey and their experience with the toasters. So generally you can see the genders are quite equally distributed as well as the age. So overall the whole questionnaire is meaningful and convinced. Another interesting fact was that we gathered some words that people associate with toasters. Overall, most mentioned words were morning, warm and simple, what we actually expected. But just in Israel there was a small exception that people combined toasters with unhealthiness. And another things we investigated was the frequency of using a toaster and the time when you use a toaster, for which meal. As you can see in Germany, more than 65% of people uses toasters more than once a week. And another special thing is that in Israel people do use toaster more often for lunch than for breakfast. For dinner than for breakfast. Last one, or not, another thing is to investigate the slot number, which basically was quite the same in all of the three countries. So people really prefer to use 2 short slot toasters. And as the group before already said, the bun warmers are not really common in Israel and US, but really common in Germany. So we will go on.
Thanks, Matthias. So the next thing we saw in the statistical part of the survey was the material of the toaster, which was mostly half and half, and the design versus functionality, which most people surprisingly preferred functionality to design, specifically in Israel. 95% of people preferred functionality. We further investigated that in the focus group because we thought it was interesting, and it turns out that it's true for younger people, like mostly students that answered our survey, but when we asked older people, they actually perceived toaster as a furniture for the kitchen, so they did prefer design to functionality. So the main conclusions of the survey were as described, and that is what led us to eliminate further variants and decide which toasters we would like to introduce. The next part of the survey were the open-ended questions, which allowed us to understand what people are looking for in the future and identify latent customer demands. So, like we learned in Professor Pillar's lecture, we asked what is missing in people's toasters and what they would like to improve. And we got a lot of different comments. A lot of them were already mentioned by the red team before, so I won't repeat them. But another thing, like specifically in Israel, we eat pita bread, which is not common in other countries. So we were asked many times to create an option to warm pita breads in toasters because they're quite large. And also we were asked to combine the toaster to make a full breakfast, like you see with additional eggs or things that can really complete a breakfast. And now I'm inviting Matthias to continue talking.
The last tool we applied to finally decide which variants we want to offer is the Kano matrix. I will just briefly explain it to you because I don't know if you know it. We tried to categorize like 13 different features of a toaster into 4 different categories. Like in the upper left part, there are indifferent features, so they actually don't care whether they are present in a toaster or not. On the upper right side, you can see exciting features, which are really can make the difference between the toasters you offer. The lower right part are the performance features, where that's the features the companies really compete about. And on the lower left part there are the must-be features, so as the name said, they have to be included into the toaster to be competitive. And so finally we decided to offer 3 variants in each country based on all the market research and tools we applied.
The next part of the presentation will discuss how we decided where to put our money for future investment. And we used, just like the other groups, the growth share analysis using the BCG matrix, which compares a relative market share versus market growth. So products that are high both in market growth and relative market share are obvious products to invest for further R&D. And products that are simply high in market growth but not in relative market share are questionable. And we, so obvious investments we invested in, and things that were question marks, we only invested in if they had high potential in more than one market. And you can see the 3 graphs we created. This is for Israel, for Germany, and the US. And this is the final conclusions we decided on which products to invest in the future for R&D. And now I'll be giving it to Yuval to talk about our research locations.
Okay, so for the last part of the project, we had to decide where we want to place our research and development facilities. As Justin stated, we have decided to enter all 3 markets for distribution, but this does not mean that we have to make production and product development in all 3 countries due to the global world of today. So we have decided to analyze the advantages and disadvantages of every single country that we are going to produce in. For example, some countries are stronger in certain things than other countries, and the global world lets us determine these advantages. So we have done 2 things. For one, we have analyzed objective data. For example, statistics, average salaries, working hours, as we will show in the next slides. And for the first part, we have researched the pros and cons of every country, strengths and weaknesses, and that's what Zoe will present now.
Okay, so sorry for all the switching up. We thought everyone should talk. Regarding Israel, the great pro of Israel is that it's very innovative. It has a lot of startups. It's a very innovative place. So we want to do our R&D there. And on the other hand, Israel is not very organized. It doesn't have like a very disciplined culture. So it's a less good place to do production development. On the other hand, Germany is very precise in its manufacturing, and it has very good production development potential. However, they have less annual working hours, as Yuval will present shortly, and also they have a lot of unions there, which can cause a situation of strikes, so that's a con. The United States is a very good place, a lot of great market potential. However, as you will see shortly, the salaries there are very high, and it'll be less profitable for us to work there. Finally, we decided that we should do market research in all 3 countries, because we will be introducing toasters into all 3 countries.
Okay, so the following table shows some statistics that we gathered regarding the countries. First thing we need to see, the top level is regarding product development research. It shows some average salaries, so you can see that in Israel the average salary for an electronic engineer, for example, is higher, whereas industrial engineer is lower, so it helped us also determine what our value for the money we are going to invest is. The second table shows the exact same statistics regarding example positions in production development. And the third section is average annual working hours, which we gathered from the OECD, the Organization of Economically Developed Countries, I think. So you can see that in Germany, although they have a very good reputation of hard workers, we get about 400 or 500 less annual hours for each employee. Okay, so next slide. To sum it all, this is our investment strategy. This is our conclusion. So we have decided to place product technology development in Israel due to the fact that Israel does have a very good reputation of startups, of initiating new things, of developing, of creating. And then production, we have decided to place in Germany due to its also very high reputation and good value for money. Since we are putting variants in all 3 countries, we have decided to make research in all these 3 countries. There is a big problem with making research for other countries when you're in another country because of high cultural differences. So not only we have decided to do that, we also decided to double the minimum amount required for research to start with. So in the future, after we gain a really significant entrance into these countries, we may shift these amounts to production or product technology development as required. So this is the 20 million euros we have decided to spend to build our R&D network. So I would really like to thank everyone for listening. We would like to thank Hypodia for this experience. It has truly been an interactive experience. We have discussed, had weekly meetings over the internet, representatives from 5 different countries, which makes us probably the most international group in this course. And it was very, very innovative to work together. We would like to thank you all. We are the team. Comments?
Okay, may I just give a short feedback because we are not having so much time. I liked your introduction of the whole team. That was very good. I liked your slides, the Kano matrix. That was very precise, good working. But it was not 10 minutes, so that's what I want to say to the other groups. Please just use 10 minutes. We are running out of time. But good job. Thanks.
So we need to jealousy now. And just for the guys participating, we will have Ravina just holding up a white piece of paper, just to know you that 10 minutes are over, and then just try to come to an end. Otherwise, we have just 1 or 2 groups in the end who are not able to speak anymore. That would be too bad for your hard work. So jealousy, go ahead. Number 3. 1 minute.
evening/morning/afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the 21st century, where technology is changing more rapidly than ever before. And in order to follow the two wonderful teams that went before us, the angle that we would like to put on this toaster project is really giving you some best practices to ensure that your company has a competitive advantage in the future by staying up to date with innovation practices. So, first we'd like to to introduce ourselves. My name is Gloria, and along with my colleagues Dominic, David, Shai, Gavin, and Kavar, we want to talk about our case project with CleanDevTech. So we've really found two main issues in this case that we wanted to attempt to solve. Am I clicking? Sure. So the first key issue is that we're currently operating in only one product segment, and we really want to make sure that that doesn't limit our growth potential by expanding into creating new, more innovative products. The second is that we're facing strong competition. So we really need to focus on creating competitive advantages by truly serving the specific demands in each target country's market. And by doing those two things, we think that CleanDevTech has a great shot at becoming a leader in the kitchen devices market. So as mentioned earlier, the industry that we would like to go into is kitchen devices. Specifically, we would like to focus in on the toaster, as you are aware of by now. And in order to do that, we conducted market research in 3 different countries: the US, Germany, and Israel. A bit of technical things. All right, and to start off, we'd like to talk about our market research in Germany.
Okay, thank you, Gloria. So I said we go on with the German market, and yeah,
maybe you should speak to the other microphone. This one doesn't really work.
Okay. Yeah, I want to start with the basic results on the market research for the German market. Yeah, the first thing we did was asking several customers in Germany concerning their main problems concerning using the existing toasters. And yeah, as you can see, the most frequent main problems, for example, are difficult to clean, nasty design, or no stop button. Yeah, and the next step we did was associating certain components which are able to fix those problems, and which you can see on the next slide. So on the left side you see the named problems named by the customers, and on the top of the slide you see the certain components we associated with the problems named. And yeah, in order to validate in how far it makes sense to add those components to our future toasters, we did a double ration, and yeah, the first ration you can see on the left side, which refers to the frequency named or the problems named concerning the toasters, and the second ration you can see on the bottom of the slide, which refers to the general connection between the component and the difficulties named from the customers. And this leads to the final result of relative technical importance, and from this result we conclude which additional components we finally want to add to our toasters. Okay, then we go on with the BCG markets, BCG portfolio of the German market with Kiva.
Thank you, Dominic. Beside the market research, we have data given to us, and this is what we end up with for the BCG portfolio. As you can see, we have T5, T4 as a star, and T1, 7, and 8 as a question mark, and T3 as a kind of dog. And after after those valuations and argumentations we have done for Germany, we came up with the variants of 1, 4, and 5. As Dominic mentioned before, according to the market research, we have additional features for our products. As you can see, most mentioned, the problem was the cleaning. That's why we have crumb tray for all of our variants. But as you can see, we don't offer any additional features like this digital display or smart sensor or cancel control to variant 4 to in order to be sure that we are in the market for also the people who can't afford kind of premium brush stainless steel and digital displays ones. That's why we have variant 4 for the those people, and 1 and 5 as a premium class variants in the market, because in Germany we have so much of competitors in the market, and to be sure that we have advantages, we thought that okay, we will go for premium classes, and that's why we just offer 5 as really premium, and 1, even 1 was a question mark. We believe that with those additional features, it's gonna be our star in the future. So that's why we end up with those variants for Germany. And my friend will continue with Israel.
Thank you, Kibar. So in Israel, we started with the BCG metrics. So this helped us to eliminate part of the variants. We had many variants, so we had to choose in which variants we're going to invest and which to divest. So we figured out that T1 and T8 and T9 are our question marks variants. They can be profitable and part of them not. It depends on the market demand. And our star product is T3. So the next thing we did is going to do a market survey. We first did a focus group of 5 people to decide which question to ask in our market survey. And we figured out that the survey should be divided in 2 parts. So the first part is help us to decide of the rest variants in which we're going to invest. And the second part is additional features to the products. So what finally we decided to add to our products is this easy disassembly. Most of the families that we asked say that it's hard to clean their toaster, so they need some easy disassembly that will help them clean the toaster. The second feature that we thought is good is like a toast status, something that people can say, no, our toast is ready, or in a few more minutes. This demand came from salesmen, basically. They said that it can catch a customer, they can sell easily their toaster. And the last one, the third one, is a transparent toaster. It's more like a new design, fresh design. The students said that it would be nice that a toaster could be transparent. So the final result is we chose TI1, T3, and T4. T4, we didn't have any information from the case study about T4, but we saw that there is a market demand for this kind of product. So maybe on the short term it won't be profitable, but in the long term it's good. And thank you. Now we have to speak about USA market.
Thank you. I'll go quickly. So in the U.S. market, as many of the other groups have shown, 2 toasters sort of stood out. One as an immediate solution to the toaster problem, and one as a good growth potential item. The first one was option T3. That was our immediate solution, and option T5 was the high growth potential. Our question marks included T1 and T8, although as you'll see in the following slide, they were not reconciled with the data from our market research and were therefore discarded later. So here's our final attribute tree based upon our market research. We used the original information provided by the German team in order to see which kinds of questions we wanted to ask and which items we wanted to include in this survey. And so we have the options here: clear outer case, crumb tray. Basically everyone said that they wanted a crumb tray, so that told us that it wasn't actually an excitement feature, that was actually a necessary basic feature to include, which is why you see it in both tree branches here. And the digital display, while we did want to keep one item on a lower price segment, we did see there was a very high demand for it, so in the end we decided to go with the digital display in both designs.
Okay, so the wave in the web white flag, so we'll be really quick. We wanted to find where the R&D should be placed, and each country has their own strengths. So I'll go over it really quick. For the product technology development, we thought that USA and Israel are the best. Production technology, Germany. And one for the market research, USA and Germany. Next. Still, one sentence about this decision. Everybody knows that the USA is the best in R&D. Each company which respects itself has an R&D center. And for Israel, like the phrase says, we are the first in the world in the startups per capita, which means we are innovative. And about Germany, well, Germany was always has a name about high quality and being really precise, so we chose them as the production. And for market research, we thought that Israel has a really small market. We wanted to focus on the bigger markets. They are like 10 times bigger than us. So we wanted to put one in USA and one in Germany, and we spent the whole budget.
All right, thank you. So there are three things in which we need to focus on to ensure sustainability in the toaster market for future years to come. First is to continue to conduct market research. It's very important, based on what we saw, that certain items that we thought were going to be excitement features or additional things were actually seen as basic features, like I mentioned earlier, the crumb tray, which needed to be included. So continue to do market research. The second thing is to strategically allocate our research and development. As was mentioned, the US has a particularly strong image for research and development, and so as those things change globally, it's important to continue to analyze that in order to navigate the research and development field. Finally, it's to continuously innovate. As we've seen from these presentations, there are a lot of different toaster design options, and so we hope to continuously create these new excitement features in order to make sure that Clean Dev Tech has sustainable growth for years to come. Thank you, guys.
Questions, comments? Thank you.
Okay, next is the name. Number 4.
Okay, here we go, that's it. Okay, hi guys. My name's Kat, and I'm with the pink team. Cassandra here, and we are from USC. Marie and Lilia are from Technion. Daniela is from Aachen, and also Suk is from Aachen, and he's also on our team. Hi! Hi. Anyway, so in our project, we just wanted to try and make the highest profitability in each market. So we won't waste any time, let's just... Okay. So in our presentation, we're going to talk a little bit about our market research, which we did with a survey, as some of the other teams did. The company restrictions, so kind of just all the financial data, and show you guys how we developed our research and development network design. So in creating our survey, we asked a lot of questions about what our customers currently have, because we felt that there would probably be some sort of, people would want to keep with products that they were already sort of familiar with. So we asked a lot about what products they currently had, and also what their major complaints were and their favorite aspects of the toasters were. We ended up having 227 respondents from all the different countries and of all ages. So in Germany, the majority of people had 2-slice toasters, bun warmers, and plastic covers. And then, like, you guys can read them, the most important factors. And as a result of the research we found, from our survey, we decided that what was kind of most important showed us that we should have improved functionality in our toasters. So maybe something like multiple preset settings so that like people sharing a toaster can each have their own kind of like preset functions, something like that. Also having a tray that you can remove to take out the crumbs, and finally having some sort of like transparency or something, because we noticed that a lot of the German customers or respondents really thought that aesthetics were really important, so we thought that would be really cool.
We next took a look at Israel, and some of the most important factors for them were reliability. They really wanted to know like how long their toast would take to toast and how much longer it was going to take. And so from this, we decided on a display function that would say how much longer the toast was going to take. In addition, they really cared about volume. They wanted to get the most volume for their toaster while still having the functionality of a toaster. So we decided for this, we wanted to maximize the slot space for the overall toaster. And additionally, they talked about wanting to have ease of cleaning. So we thought to have some sort of light indicator to say when they should change the the crumb container. Because if you don't change it often enough, then you most likely will get a burning smell, which isn't very pleasant. And they also discussed having a bad smell coming from the toaster, so we think that this would solve this problem. Next, we looked at America. They also preferred a small size over a larger size, but they also wanted functionality, and also we noticed that Americans have lots of different size toasts, lots of different size bread that they like to toast. So we were thinking of having an automatic adjustable bread clamper is what kind of we called it. So it would automatically fit to the size of the bread, because if you put a really small piece of bread in a larger container, then it will likely like tilt to the side and it'll be unevenly toasted. And again, they also remarked on wanting fast and consistent performance. So from this, we also decided on having a display feature so that they could time how much longer it would take for their toast to be finished.
Okay, this is from the result from the data from our sales department. We could state which variants would be profitable in different markets, and we can see that the Israeli market, since it's very small in comparison to the US and Germany, gives less variants, and we can see we have just very few profitable variants. And here we can see that we have mostly just 4 models, and here we can see again that there is a very big difference between Israel and the other states. And from the BCG portfolio, we decided which variants offer in a different country, and as you can see, the width of the dots is the volume of the sales, and again, Israel is very hidden among the others. And to go in details, in Germany, we have some very good results with the variant T4. And yeah, some of the initially profitable variants are not going to be profitable in the future, and so we decided to delete them, of course. And we didn't have enough data about the product 11, but from our survey we could say that since this variant is the only one with long slot in Germany, and our survey said that the 24% of German market uses the long slot, and 44% of the person in Germany experience that they have problem with the bread that doesn't fit in the toaster. So we think that this is a field in which we can still have a lot of earnings, and this is the product that TD11 is the product that is most profitable at the beginning. And in Israeli market, we have mostly these 2 variants. In particular, we decided to offer anyway the variant TD8, the TD8 that is going not to be very profitable in the future, but we decided that since CleanDev Tech is a new stakeholder in this field, it is important that the brand is, the customer get the knowledge with the new brand. It could be profitable, have a good image, offering lots of products in the market. And regarding the American states, is the most variable. Yeah, we have some very good success with some products. But there are very
very big changes about products that's going to be less profitable in the future. This is how our attribute tree looks like at the end, and we have just 7 variants of the 15 in each of possible.
So our next step was to decide where to put each R&D facility. First, for the production technology development, we choose the US, since the US is the #1 in tech competitive and has high patent activity, and it's also #1 in the world in number of innovators, as we can see from the graph. So it suits best for product technology. And for production technology development, we choose Germany. As stated before, the university ranks as top 10 in almost every engineering field, especially mechanical engineering. So it holds as a leadership in sustainable production technologies. And from the data, we can see that in 2008, 6,000 German companies accounted for 205 billion euros. And also the education and budget allocated to universities in Germany is ranked amongst the highest priorities for the local government. And so Germany is suited best for production.
Hi everyone. Okay, so taking off from the market research part, you can see that initially we thought about, let's do 1 center, let's just do 2 centers. Like everyone else, I think maybe most of the people, we're going to do 3 centers. The reasons you can see, basically I have the notes here, but it's deleted. So I'm just going to read and explain. Initially there will be higher costs. So you're going to open 3 different buildings, maybe East Coast, West Coast, Midwest, and then in Germany a couple, and in Israel one. It's going to cost us money, right? But then what you're going to do is you're going to increase the market entrance in each country because of these research centers. So I'm going to explain this later on. Better logistical management. So this is the point where we were thinking today. We're like, okay, we should add this point. You want to make toasters by the billions, right? We want to sell it eventually to China. We want to go to Asia. We want to go like to Europe, to America. We want to sell it by the hundreds of millions. We got to do a logistics center. Now we know that in Israel and Europe we work with DHL, and then we have America. We have UPS. Having these logistical facilities over the world will actually help us. One, we're going to be able to adapt quickly. We can move merchandise and stuff from around each country with these companies. And secondly, we can actually adapt quickly to different cultures and within the countries, and of course, using the different facilities in each country. I think we're pretty much done. Do you have any questions for our team? We'll be happy to take them.
Thank you, Pete, for being on time. That's perfectly. Just on the second.
Alright, our team sought to aid Clean DevTech, a mid-sized cleaning industries company, as they decided to enter a new product into their product portfolio in the means of a toaster. We found that in addition to challenges that Clean DevTech faced from adding a product that was separate from the rest of their current product portfolio, they also faced the unique challenge of adding products to 3 new markets outside of their bases out in Stockholm. So they're adding the toaster to Germany, Israel, and US, as you've heard many times by now. On behalf of myself and Anna, we also want to give a shout out to our teammates Amin, Jonas, Nir, and Omri. Anna and I are going to take you through the rest of this. So, firstly, we really decided that the focus of our project was going to be on market research. Through the data that we already had, we were able to very quickly determine which product variants would be able to be profitable in each separate market. So we decided to focus mostly on market research as a means of adding value to this more quantitative data. So firstly, we conducted interviews with retailers. We use this as a method of sort of putting out feelers and seeing what portions of the customer's decision to buy a toaster were most important to their decision buying process. We also conducted focus groups of 6 to 7 members each, and we used that as a means of sort of looking more into the future and less quantitatively as to what a consumer decides when they're buying a toaster. Our most important part was the online survey. Each survey that we conducted got between 90 and 118 respondents. We used the toaster survey as probably our most important means throughout the market research. 2 unique things we did within our survey is we separated our respondents based on income level, specifically those who make less than $25,000 per year or euros per year, then a mid-range from $25,000 to $75,000, and the highest range, those being above $75,000. We saw that being a younger-based team, our reach through the survey would likely get a more skewed younger response, and we decided that some of our more important data would come from these higher income levels. Also, we added quantitative numbers to some of the more qualitative questions in terms of price and these premium features. So we created a ranking system for the different features that some of these variants offered, and we also had each survey respondent rank which factors they saw as most important when they're buying their toasters. Not ironically, but we found that most respondents throughout the 3 countries not only ranked these premium features as very important to their purchasing decision, but they also decided that price was a huge factor for them. So while they might say they want to have these premium features such as like a cancel button or a bun warmer, overall they were incredibly price sensitive, so that was something that we took into account with our research.
I'm going to talk about Germany. We conducted interviews in electronic stores such as Media Market and Saturn. We also had, like we said, this 6-person focus group, and we distributed our survey online. We had 118 respondents, and of that, 58% use a toaster more than once a week, so it's a pretty heavily used product, so we pretty much trusted our respondents and thought they were pretty credible. In the first 2 groups where income is less than $75,000 a year, obviously price was a huge consideration, and they were pretty sensitive to that. In the group that income was over $75,000, it wasn't as much a consideration, it was more features. But price was a pretty huge consideration, but more so was the bun warmer actually, because there's so many different types of bread in Germany that that was a huge factor, which helped people buy or not buy a toaster. Some breads are flat, some aren't. So the bun warmer was the biggest feature for this. So we listed the 7 profitable models for Germany, and we picked 3 out of these 7 to invest in. We chose 1 because it has most of the basic needs of Germany. We picked 5, even though it has a lower profit, and we picked 8. 1 and 8 had profit of over 5 euros per unit, whereas 5 only had 0.86 euros per unit. So yes, it's lower income, but it covers all of the needs that the Germans pointed out to us. So we wanted to keep it in the mix because it's essentially the perfect toaster for Germany.
So we conducted similar interviews in Israel, but in Israel, instead of electronic product stores, most of the interviews took place at supermarkets. We found that throughout all 3 income groups, price was throughout all the most important factor. Of the profitable models, we decided to go with TI8 and TI1. TI1 has cancel control, the Bosch stainless steel, and 2 slices. We decided that this was ideal for the consumers who are less concerned with pricing, who are more looking for these premium features. And we also chose to use TI8, which has a plastic exterior and what could be considered less premium, but is definitely the more affordable price toaster. And we decided that this was a good match for some of the larger families. And Israel has a large population of Orthodox Jews with a lot of children, so we saw it as a good option for them.
In the United States, we conducted interviews at stores like Best Buy. We also had the 6-person focus group and the online survey. We got just under 100 respondents for the survey, and of that, 74% of the respondents said that they use their toaster more than once a week, which identified US as the highest usage of all 3 countries. Israel only had 57% and Germany only had 58%, so that was a pretty big factor for us. Price was also a really big consideration for the customers, but something that differentiates the United States from the other 2 countries is that customers go into stores and they pretty much know what they want. So while they are price sensitive, they are also really focused on the features that they want. And the 2 biggest features for the United States were the cancel option, because they were really concerned about the burning of their toast, and also the 4-slice capacity. That's a lot more family oriented. There's more kids, 2 to 4 kids is most popular, and so they're really concerned about how many pieces they can toast at one time.
So of the 5 profitable models that we decided, we chose 2 to focus on. We chose 1 and 8. 1 has a lower profit, it's only about 0.51, but 8 has over $8 profit per unit. So that also has the 4-size capacity, and people really stress that. So 8 is probably our most profitable, but we're gonna invest in both.
We decided to use the BCG portfolio as more of a sensitivity analysis when considering future development decisions. So of all of our chosen variants, all but 1 fall under the question mark area. Even with that data, we decided that our market research indicates that our most profitable variants will fall on these question mark rated variants, if you will. We decided this was most important too because as Clean DevTech looks to enter these 3 foreign markets, before they can overly consider profit in the next 14 months, they need to make sure that the products that they put out will be feasible in these markets. So we want to focus on these star-rated variants as we move toward future development decisions.
Okay, so in deciding where to allocate facilities for the product technology development, because the main issue here is the product and its success in the 3 different countries, we really wanted to focus on that development. So we decided the more countries we can invest in, the better. Out of all 3, the United States was the most expensive, and according to the Global Competitive Index, the United States kind of lacks macroeconomic stability, whereas Israel and Germany are more stable right now. So we decided to invest in both Germany and Israel. That took up about 45% of our budget. For the production technology, we decided to invest in Germany. According to the GCI, it's ranked 4th in spending on R&D. It has an incredibly impressive production process and distribution channel network. It's notoriously known for that. Also, it had, in the estimated market volume in the case study, it had the highest market volume. So we thought that Germany would be the best decision for this, and that about 40% of our budget. And then the remaining 15%, we equally distributed among all 3 countries because it's really important to develop the lead user base in all 3, because the lead users are going to be the innovators. They are the ones that want to identify the problems and then solve them. So we really wanted to focus on all 3 countries, and because it was so inexpensive, we used the remainder of our budget to use all 3. That's it. Are there any questions? I went fast. All right. Thanks, guys.
Purple team.
Okay, hello everyone. I'm JB, this is Gus, Jonas, Roy, and Gil. We are the purple team, and our goal is to toast the competition.
So as you've heard a couple of times from the other groups, we are taking on the role of the Clean DevTech company, and we're trying to find the best toaster variants for the countries USA, Israel, and Germany. We were presented with this attribute tree to start with, as well as information of the material costs and the production costs of the toasters, and from that we could determine which of these variants were profitable. From there we could do market research and determine furthermore which variants would be profitable and which ones we should invest in. We can then look at the growth data and figure out where we should allocate the R&D.
This works too, right? So first, for our market research, we used Walmart's online store, which is very helpful because there's a lot of information regarding popularity, cost. We limited our research to items that were reviewed as 4 or 5 stars, so people liked them. And what we found is in the United States, the long slotted toasters were not very popular, very few were offered, and they weren't rated very high. So we chose to eliminate that model first.
The next thing we noticed from the Walmart research was that none of the toasters rated 4 to 5 stars did not have cancel control, so they all had the cancel control. And then from the survey results that we sent out on the web, we determined that 62% of the customers would not buy a toaster without cancel control, as well as 79% were satisfied with their current toasters, meaning that they were satisfied with the cancel control option. So from there we could eliminate TU3.
Okay, so with the 3 remaining variants, we plotted them on the BCG portfolio, and the 2 on the right are rated as stars, which is a very good thing, and the one on the left, under 0.4 of the relative market share, is a question mark. So we weren't really able to eliminate one strictly from the BCG, so we thought we'd analyze them further according to our research. So next we chose to eliminate TU1 because it was the 2-slice toaster, and when we did our research online and through the survey, we found that people, although most use 2-slice, size was not important according to the survey, and so if we offered a 4-slice toaster, the 2-slice people are satisfied and the 4-slice are as well, so everybody's happy. And Gus is going to explain how we eliminated the variants further. Walmart really showed that the toaster business is saturated, so we thought it would be best for our company when they enter to only have one variant. That way you can really find your niche in the market rather than hold yourself more susceptible to losses.
Okay, so our final decision came down to between TU5 and TU8. We were choosing between having a bun warmer and not having a bun warmer. None of the toasters we saw in the Walmart had the bun warmer option, so we decided that this was probably not a good thing. And also we had to determine whether stainless steel or plastic would be better. Plastic would be cheaper, and in the market research we determined that the customer's primary concern in buying new toasters are the price because it's nearly a commodity. So that gives us TU8 as our final variant for the USA.
And like the other teams, we have a couple recommendations to look in further for features that people really enjoy. A couple basic features we found that are extra wide slots, especially for America, where according to the pie chart from the survey, you can see bagels are very popular to toast, so the wider slots would be helpful. And also, about 90% of toasters offered that were 4 or 5 stars all have removable crumb trays, so we would recommend that as well. And for an excitement feature, see-through walls so that you can see the brownie process and when you'd like to take your toast out.
So hi everybody, I'm going to tell you about the market research in Germany. These are the 7 variants that are profitable by calculation. We did that before. So then we went to the Saturn market to find out what are what do they sell there and compare it to our variants. So we found out that long slot toasters are not really popular in Germany. There are a few offered and not very well selling. It's what a salesman told us. So we decided to eliminate this variant. For further elimination, we took survey results from our online survey. As you can see, 63% of the participants like to just toast 2 pieces at one time. So we decided to eliminate a 4-slice toaster to decide which one that is. It is already eliminated, as you see here. We looked at material at first, so to have plastic and brushed stainless steel offered for Germany for a 4-slice toaster. We eliminated the plastic one, and also we take a look at cancel control, and over 60% said they don't buy a toaster without cancel control, but also 39% said that they would buy a toaster without cancel control. So we decided to offer a variant with cancel control and without cancel control for 4 slices and even 3 2-slice variants. Yeah. Then we took that into a BCG portfolio, and we found out that variant 3 is a border and should not remain offered at all. So we decided to eliminate that next. there are 3 variants that are stars. These are 4, 5, and 7. So these ones should remain offered. And the last one was TD1, so it was a question mark. But because of it has a very high amount of sales compared with the other ones, we decided to have it offered too, because the market growth is pretty good. It's not the best, but it's pretty good, and there are a high amount of sales. We hope that we can increase our market share with this product. So the final variants for Germany are these 4. We decided to have 4 variants in Germany because Germans like complexity. And yeah, that's basically it for Germany.
So for Israel, our market research started with basically going to the biggest e-commerce site in Israel. It's called Zap. And the point about it, and as a kind of a focus group, is basically you get a lot of data from a lot of different people, and you can actually look at the comments and see the things that make people excited about the toaster, or what they were more likely complaining about. So basically, the first thing we noticed was the market divides very noticeably to 2 tiers. There's one low-end tier, which is around $25, and there is another one around $100, and those two feature completely different features. The first thing we noticed was that basically the high tier usually was very design-oriented. They put a lot of emphasis on good design and extra features such as easy cleaning, tray, crown tray, etc. And to have this kind of high tier, and also only high tier toasters gave the 4 toast option. So basically the 4 toast was considered some kind of like a feature of the high tier toasters. So it made no sense to have this high tier product with no calcium control, which is a really basic feature. So that was the first one we actually eliminated. The next thing was to go into researching the lower tier market. First of all, it was basically easier. It's just students are usually the low tier, and we don't have a lot of money. Also, it's easier to get into that market because the development cost will be much lower. Like if you want to start thinking about high design, things like that, you need to put a lot of money into it, and also you need the brand name which is strong in this kind of stuff. So you have a problem. So we decided to focus on the low tier, and also when we look at the BCG, we can see that there is one specific model which is it stands out as being a star, and those two were actually very well connected, because this brand is actually, this variation was that of actually no cancer control and plastic variant. And as you can see, that the survey also shows that cancer control isn't a big deal for students. They don't really care. They just want something cheap. Price came up as a major factor, also like in the e-commerce site, also in the survey, and in the BCG. So basically, we decided two things. First one was that this is basically our main star. This is what we are trying to do, and this is kind of like a segment 0 innovation, I guess, in the sense that no one sells in Israel, and no cancer control plastic, like very, very basic. So if we can beat the price of other brands, that would be a win. Nobody cares about nothing besides price in this tier, and the other ones are to be considered also.
That was supposed to be a surprise, so act like you were surprised. Alright, I'll try to do the allocation of resources quite fast. Regarding the product technology, both the US and Israel, we have high quality manpower, resourceful engineers, so we feel comfortable putting all of the efforts in Israel and the States. The Americans are also excelling in marketing and design, companies such as Apple and Dell. So that's another quality why we feel comfortable putting our efforts in the States. And we're putting more money in the States because salaries are a bit higher, and regulations are a bit more strict in the States. In Israel, everything is much more easier, and we do things more easily. Production technology, so Germany is famous for its production lines, assembling line technology. People feel more comfortable buying a German product, so we really want the Made in Germany sticker, and we think it's going to help us branding and maybe attract the European market that will feel reassured to get a German product. And market research, the US and the German, the US population is 300 million people, the Germany population is 80 million people. Those are the two largest markets. So we're going to invest most of our efforts investigating those markets. We are considering issuing a beta version in Israel without any preliminary research. That's because Israel is a very demanding market, and if we succeed in Israel, we feel more comfortable releasing the products worldwide. And if we fail in Israel, it's only 8 million people, and who cares? Questions, anybody? Comments? We don't have time.
Thank you. Kaffee und Frühstück wäre gut.
Hast du nicht Frühstück? Müsli reingestopft. Das ist mir
그 다음 또 촬영 가요. 그럼 내려가요? 아무것도 안 하는데 쉬는 시간
Alright, so good evening everyone. We are the Brown team. These are my teammates Salim, Tal, Peng, Javia, and Daniel. And I'm going to be briefly going over the overview, and for the sake of brevity, I will keep it really short. So Clean DevTech is a medium-sized company that focuses on the development and manufacturing of various household cleaning devices. So ultimately, what they're trying to do is extend their product portfolio, starting with the development of a new toaster. So this is a completely new line of products, and it's in an unknown territory, and that's where the problem comes in. They're looking to target the US market as well as the German market and the Israeli market. And that's where our team is coming in to do the market research and the analysis. And so I'll be passing it off to Javia, who will start off with the market research.
Hi everyone, so I'll be talking about market research today. So market research is the most important part of our innovation process, and every company that wants to bring a new product into the market has to do market research. So why do we actually do market research? So let's look at the objectives. For creating superior customer experience, because of increasing competition and shortening product life cycle, it's very important to do market research. Secondly, we need to have the competitive edge over the other competitors in the market. So it's very essential that we do some market research. Thirdly, we all want our product to be successful in the market, so basically for that you need to do market research. And lastly, interfunctional nature. The results from the market research can also be used to initiate changes in the manufacturing, also to decide where we want to place our R&D centers and production centers. So now let's see how we did the market research as a group. Different approaches were used to carry out the market research. We did some surveys, some interviews. We went to some forums in the internet, and we did some analysis on the forums. And some of the typical questions that we asked were the type of slot, the number of slices, and so on. Also, we looked at some of the general questions like the age and the sex, so that we target all the age groups and different regions. So let's look at the Israeli market research.
So in the Israeli market research results, we can see that the most important elements for the Israeli customers were cancel control. We saw in the surveys that Israelis, it's really important for them to be able to cancel the action of the toaster. Stainless steel, because of the durability of the toaster, they want it to last for many years. Price is very important for Israelis. They want it to be cheap. And the least important was actually the band warmer, which is not really important for the Israeli customer.
Again, coming back to the German market research, first let's look at the features. And from the German market research, we saw that the Germans found quality and functionality really important, and looks were really not that important to the Germans. And the material preference, it doesn't matter if it's stainless steel or plastic, Germans just want quality. And the use of a toaster, the Germans see that toasting as well as bun warmer is really important to them. And in clear majority, we see that the Germans prefer a short slot and 4-toaster.
So the American market research, the surveyors ranked the variants from 1 to 4, with 1 being the highest. And they really wanted the ability to toast multiple slices at once, followed by a cancel control function, and a long slot versus a short slot. There was not really a favor for the bun warmer.
And for the survey, we got a little less than 100 respondents, and out of those respondents, 91% said that they would prefer stainless steel, and the 8% said there was no preference. So ultimately, 99% of those respondents said they would be okay with stainless steel.
Okay, so now that we have gone through all the market research, we come to the latent customer requirements. From the market research, we saw that there was always something missing, something more that the customer wanted out of the product. So the Israelis, they really looked forward to the looks of the toaster and that the toaster was really cheap. They also wanted that they could use the toaster for a long period of time. In Germany, they wanted faster toasting and toasting for the right amount of time. Also, they wanted a collector to collect the crumbs. In USA, again, it's the same. They wanted faster toasting, a crumb collector, and a display of how much time is left for toasting.
So these are the attribute trees per country. The green variants are the ones that are the most profitable for the Clean DevTech. The red variants are the ones that are restricted by the company, and the blue ones are the ones that are not profitable for the company. So from the market research, Israel preferred variant T1, T9, T8, T7, and T3, and Germany preferred variants T1, T5, T8, and the USA preferred variants T15, T5, and T8. And as it can be seen that variant T8 is favored across all three countries. We use the BCG matrix analysis. It's a market analysis. It compares relative market share and market growth for a product portfolio, and the size of the circles is the market, the sales volume. So we use these matrix analyses for all three countries, combined with the market research results, and these are the variants we chose to offer.
Okay, so now going to our R&D, global R&D network. So there's many factors to take in, to weigh in, when determining where you want to locate your R&D centers. So I'm going to talk about three. It's the demand factors, the supply factors, and the general competitive factors. So in the demand factors, we have the need to be closer to your lead market or to your markets. And other than that, you need to be also close to the potential, the market with a high potential growth. And also, you need to be close to your market with where you want to be aware of the local variants. So you want to give response to your local variants. In regards to supply factors, it's really simple. You just want to be close to local scientific talent, local technology, and the know-how. And in regards to general competitive factors, you need to be in a place where you can monitor and you can scan technological and competitor environment. But regarding R&D structure in the same department, we had two approaches, whether to be centralized or decentralized approach. So we weighed in the factors of the benefits of both things. So in centralized approach, you have an easy integration between the different functional groups, as opposite to your decentralized organization, which means that you actually tap into the local and diverse knowledge of each country or technological hub. Now we'll go into each department.
So the product technology development, we decided that it will be in two countries, Germany and Israel. And we decided that Germany will lead the mechanical aspects of the research and development, and Israel will lead the electronic aspects of the research and development. And the reason is that Germany is just abundant with high quality mechanical engineers, and it has good faculties of mechanical engineering all across the country. And it's the same with Israel and electrical engineering. And we can see that many German companies, there are many big German machinery and household equipment German companies such as Siemens, Daimler, BMW, Volkswagen. And the same we can see in Israel about high-tech companies. We can see IBM, Apple, Google, global and local Israeli high-tech companies. The production technology R&D is decided to be in Germany. For the same reason, Germany has a very good faculty of mechanical engineering, and we can see that the German government funds many research institutes that are related to innovative technology development techniques. And also there are very good partnerships between German research institutes and universities and many companies. And we can see also that Germany is, because of its efficiency in production, it has been able to compete with many cheaper manufacturers from the Far East. So production development is decided to be in Germany.
Okay, in order to
allocate our resources or facilities properly, it's also necessary to take the market research into consideration. Market research is an essential business tool and a must, especially for the competitive market environment. Understanding the customer, the customer, and also their purchasing habits is is necessary for our marketing strategy. And there's also another concept is the lead user-based development. Just like the picture shows, it shows the product life cycle. At the very beginning, only lead user per prototypes is available. So we can see in this period, the lead users face the leads, and they also try to find the solutions to these leads. So the companies then can find the future trends and also the needs of the future products. So after considering this market research, we decide to locate these resources in each country. That is one in USA, one in Germany, and one in Israel.
So to conclude, this is our budget, and this is how we allocate it in decentralized in product, centralized in production, and decentralized in market research. Thank you very much. Questions?
Hi everyone, so as we're all getting settled in up here, I'll just introduce our team. So I'm Max, and this is Iris. We're representing USC. From Technion we have Ala Nidan, and from Ahern we have Daniel and Yingda. So we structured our presentation slightly differently. We'll actually be explaining our conclusions to begin with, and then kind of taking you full circle as to how we arrived there, and that's what Daniel's going to start us off with.
Thanks, Max. First, I want to thank you all for your interest over the time, so I'll keep it short. Basic but important was, where can I, basic but important, okay. Basic but important was our BCG portfolio and our profitability analysis. So for the USA, we had models T3, T5, T8, and T12 as the most profitable ones. And for Germany, it was T1, T4, T11. For Israel, it was T3 and T8. Our core focus for this was the survey, and also how to behave in the future on separate markets.
So in order to understand why we ended up with our certain toaster products, we did a couple market research where we actually physically went to a couple stores in each country to determine consumer requirements as well as what their preferences were. So in the beginning, we entered Crate & Barrel, which is an upmarket kitchen and home appliance store that is tailored towards high-income receivers. And in this store, there was only 7 different kinds of toasters, all of which were stainless steel, which shows that they prefer high quality over price, and also they had a lot of functionality. The second place that we went to was Sur La Table, which is a private cooking and baking store tailored towards people who are passionate about cooking and baking. So in this store, they had minimal brand variety. They only had about maybe 3 different toasters, but they had a lot of different aesthetic quality, so they had different colors of the same toaster. And as well as, similarly to Crate & Barrel, they also had high functionality. The last place that we looked at was Target, which, as you guys all probably know, is the second largest discount retail store in the US. It has a lot of high variety. On the online store, they have 131 different variations of toasters, and they range from high prices to low prices, but generally average about $30. And these toasters also have high functionality.
some popular toasters that we saw in Target was the Hamilton Beach 4-slice toaster, which averages about $35. And similarly, in Crate and Barrel and Sur La Table, they happen to have the same popular toaster, which was the Breville 4-slice toaster. As we can see here, we can see that the U.S. people enjoy 4-slice toasters. Here, the toaster breakdowns for the products that we decided on. We can see here the bun warmer and the cancel control show some sort of functionality, and we can see that almost all of the toasters that we decided on either have all the functions or at least one of the functions. So this shows high functionality, as well as 3 out of the 4 of the toasters have 4 slices, which also supports our customer requirements.
For Germany, we went to the MediaMarkt local store, and the survey gave out the following data, that customers only buy products that are not very expensive, so cheap products. They stand in competition to the discounters like Aldi and Lidl, where Germans normally buy their toasters for not more than $12 or $15. I went to another retailer, Demmer, a retailer for high-class products like KitchenAid and Kenwood. They had prices up to $300, and they had a high functionality and a good kitchen design, and yeah. At least we went to Saturn too. Like, I don't know, the purple group, I guess. I just picked up that the basic functionality was considered, and rich design and quality was the focus. That's why I decided, or that we decided for following models: TD1, because it has all the functionality that was required in the German market. TD4 because it's just like a very brave decision and a very cheap model because it has no functionality, but functionality and low price is the not functionality. Price is the main reason why Germans buy toasters. And TD11 because it's also kind of a brave decision because it's highly profitable. Yeah. I said it.
Okay, I will try to conclude, to have a fast conclusion about the Israeli market. The first tip that we want to emphasize is the difference between a toaster and the Israeli meaning of toaster, because it's like a cross-cultural thing. In Israel, toaster is this press toaster, and the toaster that our research about called the matznem in Hebrew, and this is the one thing. The other thing is that every Israeli household holds a toaster. So there is a big market over there, and another issue is that our surveys are not wasn't related to the Orthodox families. That they have a lot of children, and they need a fast breakfast every day. So and they're also very poor. So they need lower price and big toaster.
Okay, so we have done our research in 2 main companies. One of them is Shechem Electric. It's all about quality, and the second one is Machsanei Hashmal. It has really low prices. Although that Shechem Electric has 40 branches and Machsanei Hashmal has only 20 branches, Machsanei Hashmal is definitely leading the market, but due to some future forecasts, it's going to be the opposite. The quality will win the prize.
Just for the toaster breakdown, we chose 2 toasters to Israel. Although the Israeli culture wants a high variety of toasters, we saw those two toasters as the leaders of our society. In addition, you can see that those toasters have the most of the functionalities in them. So at the end, that's what we choose.
So ultimately, to supplement the extensive market research that we did, we also spent a lot of time developing an online survey. And so the focus of the online survey was really to just look at the existing variants of the toaster products that Clean Dev Tech is going to be providing, and basically either validate or kind of refute the conclusions that we had already made based on the profitability analysis and the market research. So basically we send out 3 identical surveys to the 3 different markets. And so these are just a series of questions that kind of helped validate certain decisions that we made about the toaster variants. So for example, the slice question, we found that from our survey that the majority of German consumers had 2 slice toasters. And so in the 3 models that we ended up choosing, they were all 2 slice toasters, so this kind of told us that, you know, we were on the right track with that decision. Another question was stainless steel or plastic. We found from the survey results that 74% of the German survey takers had plastic toasters, and 2 of our 3 models were made of plastic. So again, that kind of suggested to us that we were on the right track. With regard to the Israeli market, and long slots or short slots, majority short slots, which is what we saw with the 2 models that we selected for Israel. Similarly for Israel, the cancel control, well, this was kind of different actually. We saw an even split almost between yes and no for those consumers who had a cancel control or were interested in one. And so as you can see from the 2 toaster types that we selected, one has one doesn't. So kind of trying to address all the needs of our consumer population. And the only kind of question mark that we had was with regard to one question from the US market. And we kind of saw a disparity between the survey, which had only 26% of Americans having 4 slice toasters according to the survey. And yet we chose to produce 3 out of 4 slice toasters. But after thinking about it, a great number probably of our survey takers were college students who have less need for 4 slice toasters than the average American family. So even though this was kind of the only question mark we had with regard to the survey, we were able to proceed forward. And yeah.
For our R&D investment plan, we decided that we were going to invest $4 million in Israel and $6 million in the US for product technology, mainly for the reason that the Israelis and the USA enjoy variation. And we decided, as did the rest of the groups, that we would invest $8 million in the production technology for Germany because they are known for their high quality in production. Because of budget constraints, we decided to put market research $1 million in Israel and USA each, because once again they enjoy variation and they are a lot more innovative. They enjoy more innovation than Germany. And in total, 50% of the product technology of the budget was 50%, and 40% was production technology, and 10% was market research. Future innovations that we could recommend for some alterations in the long run for the US, because US customers enjoy functionality, we would suggest some more functionality besides cancel control and bun warmer. For example, a lot of US customers enjoy eating bagels and English muffins in the morning, so something like a bagel toaster mechanism or a defrosting mechanism would possibly help profitability. In Germany, because we concluded that they don't enjoy as much variation as the other 2 countries, we decided that monitoring the market and price fluctuations is important, because Germany really emphasizes price, and validate every couple of years because of the market can change depending on the year. And for Israel, as we mentioned before, with the toaster and press toaster dispute, we would to comply for the cultural differences. If we could make a toaster that has press toaster and non-regular toaster compatibility, we might be able to make more profit. That's it for us. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Steven, this is Zach, we're from the Green Team. And we're well aware that you've been listening to toaster business model presentations for the last 2 hours. So we'd like to take a slightly different approach and show you a little bit of how the principles of iPodia influenced our study of this case, and we learned a lot more about how to do business through it. So, we determined that having a successful team, whether you're in a classroom or in a business environment, requires some of the main characteristics that we learned about in iPodia. That means our team had to be international, our team had to be interactive, innovative, and we had to think out of the box in order to really see success with this case. So, as you're well aware, Clean Dev Tech is the toaster company that we represent, and you're very familiar with the process that's required to really do a thorough analysis of this company. But being familiar with this is really important for our presentation because it gives you the context of what we're going to be going through. So I'm going to trust that you've got that. One of the most important things for our presentation and for our entire collaborative effort is that we were student-driven, and that means that instead of the typical classroom where things are very teacher-oriented, we took this project very much under our wings, and it was a very collaborative effort. We were just given the case overview, and so it was up to us to really understand what was required of us and ask questions and work together to push the process forward. As a complement to the collaborative environment, it's very important that our collaboration is active. So, in order to be a very active collaborating team, we utilize a lot of different technologies. Some of these technologies are Facebook. I made a Facebook account for the first time in 3 years so that I could work with my group. We also met one-on-one in Skype. We used Dropbox to organize all of our files. We met up regularly in the Adobe Connect group with meetings we scheduled using Doodle. We communicated over Gmail and WhatsApp. So we really tried to leverage all the tools that were available to us to see a lot of success in this process. And using these tools, it was important that we had a lot of healthy debate with one another as we encountered different issues for our case. And those debates allowed us to make the best decisions. One thing that was really interesting that we learned is in Germany, a lot of times students will focus on the exam period at the very end of the semester, and so there will be a lot of downtime leading up to that exam, whereas we think we saw more success with this because of the regular interactions we had and how active the collaboration was. So in the iPodia syllabus, it says what you learn depends on with whom you learn, and we feel that that's very important to our experience, and we're very thankful that we've had a cross-cultural team for this. When we try to think about why it's important that our team is cross-cultural, this toaster case gave us a great example of how the cultural differences can lead to very important lessons that can be learned. Whether that's understanding different consumption habits, understanding market differences like different types of bread or different availability of electricity, things that need to be thought of. You can't just plop one toaster into every country. One of the most fun things for us was learning what a Bunwarmer was. I'm going to try some German here. This roll up here is very common. It's available almost everywhere. I think it's called Brötchen. And basically, when you get fresh Brötchen, it's crispy on the outside, but it's soft and it's doughy on the inside. It's really delicious, okay? But if you leave it out too long, it gets kind of hard. You're knock. This isn't tasty. So boom, what do you get? Bunwarmer. Off this Bunwarmer, the heat comes up, makes the Brötchen nice and tasty again. I've never seen this before, so it's very important that we had a cross-cultural team to really understand these differences in habits. So to reveal all the differences that we've been missing, our tool that we approached was the survey.
Yeah, so now that we've hit you with all these airy ideas and big buzzwords, let's get into a little more specifics. Basically, what the cross-cultural element of iPodia resulted in is the survey, and one of the things we found interesting was looking at the different trends that existed in the data. Now, far and away for all three countries, cancel control and stainless steel seem to be the preferable options. So we're going to actually look a little more at the differences between the countries. Now, we found with the USA, bigger means better. Slot length, who cares? We want the biggest one. Whereas in Israel and Germany, compact and fitting in the kitchen a little better seem to be the prevailing option. Going number of slots, same deal. Four slices or go home for the US. Whereas in Israel and Germany, again, being compact, practicality is more important. Lastly, not surprisingly, Germany, bun warmer is very important. Israel, not so much. Interestingly enough, in the US, actually 51% people said they wanted a bun warmer. I think that's mostly because in the US, most people didn't know what a bun warmer was, but you might as well take a feature versus not having the feature. At least that's what we came to think. Now with market analysis, we need to use this tool in order to further eliminate variance. Now this market analysis is independent of the popularity of the toasters. Israel has found that TI-13 was the most popular, with TI-10 being the least. Interestingly enough, in the US, TU-13 was also the most popular, similar to Israel. And lastly, in Germany, TD9 ended up being the most popular, likely because it had the bun warmer option. Now with the profitability, we took this to further extend our analysis. So we calculated the total cost per unit, which allowed us to get the profit per unit and eventually the sales volume from the data given in the case on these markets. And that allowed us to calculate a total earnings for each toaster. And what was found was that TI-3 in Israel was the most profitable, TU-8 in the US most profitable, in Germany, TD-11. So now with those two segments of data, the popularity and the profitability, that yielded 6 different toaster variants that we found would be interesting to look at. Now we use the BCG analysis in order to further eliminate from those 6 variants. And from that, it eliminated TI-1 and TU-5 based on a lack of popularity in these options. And so ultimately that led to the recommendations of in Israel, the TI-9, USA TU-1, and in Germany, 2 variants, TD-1 and TD-5. And now we're going into the what we're going to allocate our R&D resources. Similar to as others have said, the Made in Germany sticker is something that is recognized and respected worldwide, so it's something that we feel Clean Dev Tech should and will capitalize on. I'm not going to try to butcher this German, but it's 100% reliable. Nobody wants to use a toaster in the morning, put it in as you're in the shower and come out and have it not working. You're going to be late, going to get fired possibly, it's not good for anybody. Now we're going to go with Israel for our production technology based on the data given the case, which is that it will be the most efficient and most affordable location. Market research, as we've mentioned, cross-cultural. You can't just get market research from one place. We need it from everywhere in order to further understand the cultural nuances given in each country. And lastly, lead market is USA. We love our toast. And we find that it will be a very profitable and growing market in the future. We'd like to thank you from the Clean Dev Tech Green Team and look for our products coming this fall.
Thank you all for your nice presentations. I like them all, and I hope you and all these will be put in the loop. presentation, you also realize that there are, there's some kind of signatures from every country. So if you just hold the presentation in Germany, you probably better screw around with some data. And if you go to the States, always bigger is better. This is so basically the things you should go ahead with and go home with, so that you see it. If you make a presentation for a foreign country or you go abroad and just tell your details over there, just come a bit closer to what they are thinking about presentation and how you're going to bring the things over. Like like Steve Jobs is doing around this nice pictures and visions. So and like if you just come to Germany, you probably just add on how many gigabytes the new iPhone has. So this is something you should get out of it, and I liked all of the presentations with innovative ideas and innovative thinking and data screwing. I think we get all of them into it, and I hope you took your lesson out of it. And I'm sorry that it took 5 minutes longer, but I think this is just fine for you. Better than just breaking down the presentation after 10 minutes. So another thing which would probably no problem in some countries, if you just extend in Germany, they sometimes say stop here and you don't come to your conclusion. Then you should focus on your details and your main results and just skip things a bit faster how you come to there, so that you have enough time to say this is a point, this is what I'm talking about. So yeah, thank you all, and I hope you just got a lot of things out of it.